Charles VI, Charles the Mad, the psychotic king of France. Charles VI was born in 1368 and was the king of France from age 11 until his death at 53. In 1392, while leading an army to an attack against the Duchy of Brittany, he had his first psychotic episode. It was a hot August morning when a raggedy leper approached the king and yelled, "Ride no further, noble king. Turn back. You are betrayed." Most people would just say, "That guy was tripping," and continue on. Not Charles. Charles spent the next hour muttering, "Ride no further, noble king. Turn back. You are betrayed." Imagine the guy leading you into battle, muttering some insane nonsense to himself while you're on the way there. Not a good sign. Later in the day, someone dropped a lance, and it landed on a helmet. This produced a loud clanging noise. Upon hearing the noise, Charles drew his sword and yelled, "Forward against the traitors!" Charles attacked his own knights, by himself. He was able to kill 4 of them before being restrained. This was only the beginning of Charles' troubles. Charles would spend the rest of his life in an off-and-on relationship with psychosis. The next year, he would forget his name and the fact that he was king. He also forgot about his wife and children, and ordered his servants to deal with the strange woman when she visited him. But he never forgot his officers. I'm sure that hurt his wife's feelings. One time, she threw a party, and he and a few of his friends dressed up as creatures from the woods. This wasn't even a Halloween party or something silly like that. It was a formal party. When they arrived, they began doing a strange dance. Their costumes were made of linen and soaked in wax, 2 materials that really like to burn. And this was before the invention of the light bulb. They quickly caught on fire, and several people died. And you think your wife was embarrassed when you got too drunk at the office party. During his episodes, he would run around naked, howling like a wolf. People worried about him getting out and scaring the commoners, so they boarded up all the exits. Charles also thought he was made of glass. These thoughts caused him great distress. He worried that he would shatter if another person touched him, so he had iron rods sewn into his clothes. His fear of shattering led him to avoid bathing or changing his clothes for several months at a time. Apparently, if you go months without bathing, you develop sores and lice, so they had to force him to bathe. Developing a stench that bothered people in the early 1400s is very impressive, because I imagine most people smelled pretty bad. You might believe that someone this delusional was a terrible king. You would be correct. During his reign, the British repeatedly kicked the French's ass. Henry V conquered substantial amounts of French territory, and in the treaty, Charles named Henry as the successor to his throne. Charles betrayed his own son and all of France. Then, Henry died, and a few weeks later, Charles died. So the King of France and England was now an infant baby. Charles' son, Charles VII, took all of France back. Charles VII won the 100-Year War and sent the English back to England. People called Charles VII Charles the Victorious. It goes to show you, no matter how insane and incompetent your father was, no matter how many problems he created, you can always take things from a baby. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and comment some tips for sewing iron bars into clothing.